Hey everybody. We've made it to June 9th, 2017, the final day of the school year for the 2016-2017 school year. Made it. I've survived. Currently, we are running a slight skeleton crew. The entire office staff, except me and the operations manager, are at Knott's Berry Farm with the kids who culminated. So basically, yesterday was the graduation ceremonies for the culminating ceremonies for the eighth graders who passed all their classes, and and it was a big to do. It was over at the Carson Center, right by Carson City Hall, and it was a pretty big to do. I mean, I'll probably go in a few minutes talking about a lot of the behind the scenes technical difficulties that I had to repair on the fly that are going to go unsung, and no one's ever going to know that there were actual problems during the ceremony. But I miss them, and this is my job. It's what I do. I solve problems. So as a courtesy, or at least something as an extra treat, um, the I'm running this Facebook Live broadcast at 10 a.m. On Friday, which for my East Coast friends puts you guys at 1 p.m. and probably time in for lunch if you guys are hanging out and just checking out what's on Facebook. There's me, and a lot of that going on.
iPad?
Yes, an iPad for me.
Yes.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you. Because a lot of stuff is going on. There's cleanup going on. The teachers have been given this checklist because our school dismisses at noon, so I'm able to do this because there's really not much going on. And P.S. I'm still a little salty about not being able to go to Knott's Berry Farm, but not on the basis that I'm not going to Knott's Berry Farm. But what happened was I had expressed more than a month and a half ago that I was interested in becoming a chaperone, and I found out yesterday during staff dinner that I wasn't even placed on the list in the first place. So I'm going, that's some, yeah, I'm just, because I would have been fine with just like, oh yeah, I'm on the list, but I can't go, so can I give my spot to another staff member? But apparently that's what happened, and yeah, so shady. Just shady. So anyway, yeah, I'm getting iPads back from teachers as part of the exit ticket for the teachers to leave as close to noon as possible. Um, the teachers have to fill out this whole checklist, and requirements that I'm asking for from a technology perspective are at least three of the checklist items. So I'm one of the gatekeepers for the exit. Now, most of the teachers have been pretty good. Um, in my school, we are losing at least two teachers. We're losing two teachers. They're transferring to other schools in the Alliance, which I like to call an upgrade for them. So good luck to them. Um, and the principal's leaving, and we are on the verge of acquiring another administrator. So we're going to have three administrators. So we're going to have, these titles make absolutely no sense to me. So principal's leaving, we're getting a new principal. And then our assistant principal is going to drop her assistant principal role and now become principal in residence, which I have no idea what the hell that means. And then this new assistant principal that's coming in is supposed to be the director of instruction. So for a school of 450 kids, three administrators, an operations manager, and then there's me, and then there's two office staff in the front, and then our parent engagement specialist here, Jose, who is not here to make fun of me doing these Facebook Live broadcasts because he's out probably on a roller coaster enjoying himself. I mean, personally, I'm not a roller coaster fan. I wasn't introduced to them very early in life because I wasn't allowed to be, I wasn't allowed to go on rides like that. But if I were to go to Knott's Berry Farm, I would go for the fried chicken. And frankly, if I really wanted to, hop on Eleanor, ride down the 91, and get my chicken and biscuits, call it a day. I don't have to hang around, a bunch of eighth graders about to go nuts and ride on roller coasters, and I have to make sure they don't die for 8 hours. I don't need that responsibility. I just came for the fried chicken. So there's that. But yeah, So it's been an interesting 24 hours. As I mentioned, going back to the graduation ceremonies. We had noon dismissal yesterday, and that was nice and all. The only problem is when it's noon dismissal and the school technically closed at 3, and we were optioned out to leave whenever we were ready to go. The problem is all the hourly staff, when you clock out, that's the end of your shift. That's you don't get paid additional, if the school closes early. So if the school closes early and we all get booted out, then all of us hourly people get hosed and we don't get paid. So what happened was I realized after thinking about the way that things were going with the graduation, I realized that the graduation ceremonies, even though that we were kind of asked to go, or it became somewhat of an obligation, um, hourly staff weren't going to get paid for our time there helping, which is a bunch of crap. And it's just one of those moments when you're in a school and you're being not your services are not being valued the way they should be valued. So when that happened, I decided to milk as much time as possible, and I didn't leave my school until 2 p.m. so that I would at least get 2 hours of paid time, even though I practically didn't do anything because I figured it was going to get returned when I worked the graduation ceremony. And then I went home, slept for an hour, and then went back to Carson to do the AV work. So that's fine and all, and there was a lot of, excuse me here, I don't really care about what you're saying. Um, so, I mean, that was fine and all. So I woke up from my nap and jumped on the 405. And since I was on the motorcycle, I lane split all the way down to the center, which instead of taking 30 minutes to get there, I got there in 15, because motorcycle. And I got there and there was this table in the back of the hall. And that's where the sound output was. And I said, okay, cool. They got everything set up for me. I'm looking around, no video output. So, and of course I get there, 25 minutes later than I said I was going to. So instead of, we had a 5 p.m. start and I said I was going to be there at 4, but I got there at 4:20. So my principal's texting me saying, "Hey, are you close?" And I'm going, "Yeah, I'm walking up the aisle, like I'm almost here." And there's no video input. So there's no place for me to plug in an HDMI cable. Not only did I have to bring my own HDMI cable. My operations manager, I refuse to call her an operations manager. It's a glorified office. She's a glorified office manager. Anyway, she tells me I have to call the Carson Center myself to get verification on AV. Ah, thank you very much. Oh, are those from Barba?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Um, yeah. Let's see if I figure out where to put these guys. Oh, and nothing special. These are Generation 4s. They're really old pieces of crap. I'm sorry. They're just, you know. Anyway, so I get to the center, and no, I had to bring my own HDMI cable. I had to call the center because my manager wouldn't tell me anything. He's like, "Oh, you need to call them. We set it up, but, you need to figure this out." I'm like, "Great, thanks." So after I settle down and get everything, take off my motorcycle gear, whatever, I have to walk across the courtyard to the front office and go, "Hi, we have a projector that I need access to the projector." And so they had to bring someone in, knowing that we were going to have video input, but of course no one got the memo. So that was a delay of about 10 minutes. I got everything plugged in, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to play these two slideshows that I had to make 4 hours before that. That also involved me getting into a slight disagreement with one of the counselors who was in charge of the slideshow that she asked me to do, and then wanted the whole thing switched up, and I'm going, you can't do this with video last minute, especially when there are other people involved that have to perform. So that was lovely. And so I get there, we start the ceremony. As the parents are waiting, I played the first of two slideshows, which is 12 minutes in a loop, no problem. it looks pretty. The sound's up. I've got it nice and adjusted, and everyone's just kind of chilling, enjoying the music, and watching all the photos go by. You can see the parents with their phones, going, "Oh my gosh, my kid's up there. I'm going to take this really grainy shot of something unrecognizable because the lights are on." But it was really cute. So, thank you. Present. So, I mean, that's cool and all. So then we start the presentation, and I realized something. If I were to unplug, and I tried it temporarily when all the kids were seated and they had come in on their procession and everything like that, and I was playing all the music that they had to give me last minute. I just I unplugged the HDMI cord, temporarily, and found out that when it does, it goes back to this default blue Hitachi screen, and mind you that the screen is completely behind the speaker. I mean, this thing is huge as day, so I went, oh crap, I need a graphic. They didn't tell me I needed to put a graphic back there, so quickly I put a split screen on my Mac, went onto the side that you can't see on the projector, so it's basically a separate display. Found I had to turn on my iPad as a personal hotspot, access the internet, get onto my email, find the one email that was sent to me last year with the graphic or school logo on it, put it on a Google slide, and then shift it over to the display that's being shown. Now, it was a really good idea for me to do this because little did I know the CEO of Alliance was at our graduation and had to speak, and I'm going, are you kidding me? All of this is going on, and you didn't tell me the CEO was going to show up, and that I needed to come up with a background graphic so that this would look pretty. Because if this ended up in a picture and all you saw was a blank Mac background, that would have just been tacky as hell. And I'm going, okay, time to save the day. All right, fine. So Google slide, slid it over, big logo of our school thing, looks pimp, and he does his piece, he does his spiel, and everything's good. Okay, yeah, that, if you guys can put that on top of the black table, that would be great. These are for me. All right, thank you, ma'am. Headphones. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that goes there. I'll move it for you guys. I know that thing's heavy. So, nice use of a chair. A very nice use of a chair.
So what do you think of chair?
Well, isn't that Teresa's?
Yeah.
Yeah, give it to Therese. Yeah. So pardon me. I do have kids in here and things like that. So anyway, so while all that's going on, graphics and things like that, and making sure I had to make sure that my computer didn't go into screensaver. It was lovely. So, I was a bit frustrated yesterday, and so I decided to pull a little stunt before all that went down. A final slideshow, which turned out that this was part of this argument, but that I dealt with, but for different reasons. But what happened was our 8th grade science teacher's leaving. Now he's moving on to a high school position, and so he'll be able to teach what he wants to teach, like physics. I will say this about my colleague who's leaving, and I really wish, he would have been, if I had him as a teacher at CAMS, I really mean this, but I don't know if he's ever going to watch this, but if I ever had him as a teacher at CAMS, maybe I would have pursued a science major. It would have been really, really fun to have had him as a teacher, especially with all the things the kids tell me about him. So, I do wish him the best, and I'm going to miss all the balut and the sneaky food that he used to pop in, things like that. I'm gonna miss it. So anyway, he had asked because he sings, and so he sings, and so he said, "Hey, is there a way that you can time it so that you can put a karaoke track as the final song in the slideshow, and then I'll just come up and sing?" And I'm all like, heck yeah, I can do that. So I created 2 versions of this photo collage. The first one was assuming that he may have changed his mind, which he wasn't going to. But the original one was going to have 2 songs that, are going to run it, and it's going to be nice slideshow whoopie-doo. The second one was going to be the first song, and then faded out, and then I put in the karaoke track, and then he comes up and sings. Now, long story short, because the principal had no idea, and he thought that he was going to be seeing like some sort of 12-minute, slideshow of, oh, look, here's a bunch of kids, which I protested because half the kids in those pictures weren't culminating. It was kind of like, I mean, I can show it in the background, which I did prior to the beginning of the ceremony, and I did it at the end, which is kind of where, candid pictures belong because, we're trying to keep it, nice and formal. But yeah, so I started this thing. This was the final presentation after all the diplomas had been issued. And so yeah, after the diplomas had been issued, we play this video. And so it starts. So here you go, kids, more kids, 2.5 minutes in. And then casually, science teacher walks up, grabs the microphone, and starts singing You Raise Me Up by Josh Groban. And I'm going, this was like the pivotal moment of my day. After all of the crap I've been through in the last couple months, knowing that I was able to pull this Easter egg and practically, save the graphical audiovisual parts of the ceremony and just watch him sing and enjoy himself. And he broke down a little bit and the kids were singing along and it was really great. It's like one of the moments that says, I'm okay. I can do these things, I just need to be in a place where what I do is more than just emergency tech with duct tape, where it's recognized as something more than I am just the help. And for me personally, that is a goal that I hope to achieve, is to find a place soon, eventually, that sees me more than just, I work at this school. I mean, I don't know, honestly, especially with all of the graphics and everything I had to do yesterday, I have no idea how any of these people would have been able to pull it off, because I can tell you right now that confidence in iMovie is pretty low here. And I honestly used iMovie to do most of this because I had no time. And it still looked ridiculously good. I know Meek, you put in here, and I do appreciate the comment on that. It was quick thinking. I had no choice. It was more like, I don't want this ceremony to be tarnished. And, this is the last thing these 8th graders are going to see. I mean, aside from, being at Knott's Berry Farm and enjoying that last day with their friends, because they're all going to go off to different high schools, and some of them may stay together, you don't know. But that's 93 kids who were in an event that many hands had to go in to prepare, and they're not going to know how much it took. This ceremony was far more graphical and audiovisually related than when I graduated in 1998. I mean, we were in a church. It was kind of like a graduation mass. So there wasn't like slideshow. There wasn't cool shit like that. We didn't have that. It was, I remember back then that because, I did well in school, and I didn't receive like top honors. I wasn't a valedictorian. I wasn't a salutatorian either. But they couldn't figure out what kind of award to give me, so they actually invented a computer science award to give me. So I came home with a medal. Of course, I had to deal with the sheer disappointment at home when I was like, well, yeah, you're not the valedictorian or salutatorian, so why do we need to care? I digress. But like I said, it was a straight mass. You don't do pyrotechnics in a mass. Well, you could, but then that usually leads into an exorcism and then all that other stuff that we can't talk about, or maybe we could. So that was my day yesterday. I'm glad that I was able to go home and sleep for an hour, and I'm grateful that both of my bikes are up and running again. Wednesday, because of things finishing early, I was able to go and pick up Eleanor from the dealership. She had a rear tire put in the week prior, and I was able to take care of that, and now I've got 2 bikes again, so I'm good. Have a video gig on Sunday for another friend of mine who's doing a recital for children, so I get to go videotape children singing and playing piano with a 2-camera shoot. That is going to be fun. It's always fun to film children doing performances, because they're having fun with it, especially the ones that have been practicing a lot and they really just want to show off. That's cute. That is some cute stuff. And so I get to capture that, and then we get to put that on DVD, give it to the parents. Yay, woohoo. I have film of my kid doing random things. I'm probably going to throw this on YouTube and embarrass them when they're 18. Perfect. That is the whole point of doing this. I asked the other day, like yesterday, I said, well, do you need this event filmed? And the answer was, no, we just leave it to the memories of the kids. And I go, I guess that's the case. I mean, whatever you like. I honestly think, though, that if we were to record these commencements, or what do you call it, culmination ceremonies, and show them to the incoming eighth graders, and show the incoming eighth graders, hey, this is what happens when you do well. This is your reward at the end of the year. This is Knott's Berry Farm, or whatever, theme park you choose to go to. This is your reward. But it's not just that. It's also the understanding that, you are ready to move on to high school, and that you've learned the skills that you need to keep on moving up, and there's nowhere to go but up. I think that we don't, at least here, and this is my commentary on what goes on in this place, but I don't think we emphasize enough to the seventh graders that this is a big freaking deal. That you don't want to be that kid that goes, I didn't pass eighth grade because I chose not to. Because I chose not to turn in my papers or do my assignments or catch up. Because you don't do that. Here in California, you don't get held back. You fail, it's your bad, but you still go up. It's like playing Angry Birds and getting 1 star instead of 3. You're still gonna pass. But if you don't care, it's going to hurt you. And it's going to continue to beat you senseless as the years go by. And it's something that I've told several of these students when I was still, substitute teaching during this year, which I dropped in May because I just couldn't deal with the fact that I was dealing with very uncaring kids. And earlier that year, I told them, I said, you will be the ones crying in June. That I know that you are capable of doing this, but you are making the very solid, legitimate choice to be that kid in June that is going to cry later. I'm like, why do you put yourself through this? And you've seen it multiple times before. You try to prevent that happening in the future, and you can only do so much. You can't save everyone. You can't save everyone. It makes it makes it hard, And I mean, I wish the other, 55 or so kids who aren't making it, who didn't come yesterday to the culmination, who weren't part of it. Hey, Alan. I wish them the best, and I hope that they figure themselves out when they get to high school. But oh, that's a painful one. The curriculum here at this school, though, definitely in comparison to that of an LA Unified school. I mean, yes, it's preparatory. Yes, it's hard. At the same time, though, we're also dealing with a culture shift here. South LA, lots of people here don't travel more than 10 miles in any direction past where they live unless it's for some event. You don't get that. There are people here in South LA that have lived here their entire lives and have never ventured past it. 10 miles from here is Santa Monica, the pier, on a weekend. 10 miles the other way is Hollywood, if they feel like it. 10 miles from here, south, maybe Carson, if you need to hit up IKEA. But they don't think about everything past it. And something that I kind of thought about, is that we don't teach past, when we teach, we have to teach with the hope that they will get up and fly as far as they can and explore the world and come back and help, the communities they're in. Jose, how you doing, man? I hope did you guys make it to Knott's Berry Farm yet? This is a special early bird Facebook Live broadcast, so we're gonna just chill. Hey. Facebook Live special edition for all my East Coast buddies.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yeah. It's cool, good.
That's cool.
Yeah, I figure last day of school. Yeah, moose time. Yay, moose time. Yeah. We should do, we should do like Miss Cleo style. We should just have live card readings with Claudia.
We should.
Oh my gosh, it would be so amazing. Like,
we should.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, in August we'll do that.
Okay, yeah, live card readings with Claudia. All right, so in case that was in case I didn't mention here, but that's my reading specialist, Claudia. She reads tarot cards, and sometimes when we're bored, she'll like do a reading for us, and so I'm like, hey, let's do a Facebook Live. Just have I don't know how that would work because you kind of have to pick your own cards when you do a tarot reading, but that would be funny as hell. We should do that. That'd be funny. But yeah, so I'm here, like I said. Still people coming and going, giving me equipment, but I'm by myself in my room. I spent the first morning watching like a section of Nacho Libre with the 6th grade science teacher's kids. That was fun, and doing some YouTube work, and data consolidation. So that was kind of fun. So yeah, that's been the crazy day that I've had in the last 24 hours, and just a lot of calming down, I hope. My summer schedule here has reduced significantly. I'm only here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That is self-imposed because I work another job on Mondays and Fridays, starting the summer. And that is a promise that I've made for the last 3 years to a very dear friend. So that has helped me through more things than I can ever repay her for. And so that is why my Mondays and Fridays are booked, because, the people that matter, I give them my time. But yeah, so, got any other questions popping on here? Just kind of said, hanging out, seeing what's going on. Uh-oh. So in this Facebook Live broadcast, we're going to pry off a cover. You're funny.
Sorry.
Oh no, this is special edition end of school stuff. I just spent the last 15 minutes talking about everything that went down yesterday at the graduation. That was pretty cray stuff, man. It's the that's what we do. It's some cray.
Yeah.
So. Let's see what we got. Hey, my friends. I need to go into that, what's that song from Sweeney Todd? These are my friends. Oh. Of course they're not razor blades though. So let's see what we have. Okay. So.
Who's she talking to?
Oh, I have Facebook Live on right now. Talking to all my buddies on the East Coast.
Huh?
For real?
Yeah, for reals.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I mean, unless you have some commentary about the Comey hearings or something, I don't know.
I was too nervous to
Oh,
listen to all of it.
I mean, I heard the opening statement. I mean, it was like,
Oh, I heard about that, but then he was like, "Oh, I shouldn't be up late."
yeah, I mean, you just kind of, I mean, that's on there pretty good. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what it is. It's just
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have probably broken it and been like, well, here you go, Garcia. Take the stickers.
take this.
I am legit getting those stickers.
Those stickers are pretty funny though. I'm just using right now. I'm just using yeah, there we go. Yeah, it just needs a little persuasion. I'm using a plastic one.
Better than brute force and ignorance. That's what I use.
Oh, probably. You know how
No. Brute force and ignorance works in a lot of cases, but not for this. I'm not going to brute force this, especially because we have a very expensive device underneath it all. Ooh.
I had one and I dropped it in that.
No, I don't want this.
Oh, sorry. Oh, wow. See, look at what happens. I get to keep this. This is my prize for today. Woo, yeah, prize.
That is yours.
Yahoo!
I return it to you. I'm done.
This is the part where you run as fast as you can in the opposite direction.
After taking some fruit and milk for lunch. Bye.
At least chocolate milk. Just chocolate milk.
Thank you, Miss Ann.
Thank you.
unidentified. Did somebody take a picture of it? But I'm just bringing it to you.
Okay, so this is open questioning hour as we're winding down on the end of the year here. Oh yes, I don't think you've actually walked in on a Facebook Live session that I've done. Basically, I sit at my desk, I talk about random crap that has been happening, and then people ask me questions. And depending on what time of the day it is, I might get lucky and get some people. We don't know. So this is El Mysterio. This is, I don't know what it is.
Cool. Sorry, I'm touching it.
Oh yeah, that was a gift.
Oh,
That
it's a
was
pin.
that was a gift from Miss Nolasco, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, went over to
Alamo.
yeah, she went to the Alamo, and I got a rifle pin. I showed that actually in my last. Well, you know, words are crazy.
Sign, Mr. Bravo.
Oh, that's cool.
You have to go back. That's your next
To
step.
the Alamo? I lived
Go
in
back to
San Antonio.
Texas.
San Antonio was awesome.
Yeah. So I will do some investigative work on this. Don't worry about it. I'll
Okay,
figure
so
it
just
out.
leave it here.
Yeah, just leave it here.
Okay,
I'll do it.
but and in terms of the checklist, like, do I worry about that not being in my cart or?
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is for the time being, I'm going to charge this up, and then I can actually tell you who it is because the identification is on the bottom of the iPad after it's
Okay.
been yeah, it's low. So as soon as I give you an ID, I'll return it to you.
And on the Chromebook check-in doc
Yeah.
that we use every day, I noticed that two of my students, their names were on, saying that they have not returned it. They claim they have. I told them to talk to you. I don't know if they actually have. Eduardo Munoz and Jason Ocampo.
Let's find out because I don't know.
Because I noticed that Catherine, because I labeled all of them, hers was impact, but it might be that one. I'm really not sure.
Well, because Daisy and David both turned theirs in, so we'll figure it out. So Eduardo Munoz?
One of the twins.
I don't know. We'll have to talk because I don't think I've gotten it back, but we'll check. Let me find out. But yes, paperwork. Munoz. Let's find out. Maybe it was one of those moments where you kind of go, oh, I totally slipped my mind and forgot. Paperwork. Last day of school, Follies. Nope, he's still there. This is the one I'm looking for.
And Ocampo. So they both. Oh, he did. Ocampo did return it.
Yeah, Ocampo's fine.
So maybe that's Eduardo or Catherine.
It could be either. Let me find out. So yeah, Ocampo, I already took his name off. Yeah.
So Munoz. They're the twins. Same. If I see mom's always here.
Yes. Well, as soon as I find out, this thing is low, so it's not even firing. So
Okay.
I'll let you know, and I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know, really. So, yeah. So, continuing last day of school, that was some logistic stuff. iPad loaner program. I'm down to 6 missing. I think it's, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this program because I loaned out 142 iPads and 7 are actually missing. One of them was reported stolen, which I think is just a way of them saying, like, without going into too much detail, let's just say the logistics were shady. Like, yeah, it didn't work that way. But, you know, getting back equipment and people returning things to me, so here we go. Just, yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much what is going on life-wise here. It's been, at least this is a little bit calmer of a day to some degree. Yeah. So 10:36. Been running this since about 10 a.m. Taking care of other things, online bill pay, you know, finally getting paid today, which is a euphemism for telling my paycheck to hold my drink. And it's gone. Lifing. Yeah. Anyway, Any if you got any other comments, questions, concerns, issues, Christine, you probably need to shut up now. Yeah, whatever. I do these for fun anyway. Let me know. Put them in the comments. I can address them in the next broadcast. We'll see if there's going to be any more broadcasts going on in the next few couple weeks or so. It's going to be very dry in the uh, school with all the kids gone. I'm going to be doing inventory, which is about as fun as watching water boil or grass grow or PGA golf during the normal season. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I am looking forward, though. There are plans. I will say this: I'm planning to watch Wonder Woman tonight. Definitely, especially getting out of school early. I want to watch Wonder Woman. There is a high chance that if I'll probably Evan will be coming with me, but there will be a high chance that we'll be watching Wonder Woman at Howard Hughes Plaza. So if anyone's interested in joining us for some Wonder Woman action, we will be at Howard Hughes. Main reason being is that there's a bike night tonight. And before I forget, bike night tonight for anyone who's interested at the Culver City Cycle Gear. Okay, that's off of Jefferson, right by Fox Hills Mall. If you're interested, it's going to be a fun one tonight because there apparently is a contest for someone with the highest mileage bike. I saw this email earlier this week and I just busted out laughing because I'm going, okay, am I really going to do this? Because I got Eleanor back, and she's running at about 190,875 miles at the moment. I should probably just go in, collect my award, and leave. Or answer questions, or something like that. But, it's really weird because when I think about this high mileage contest, I am going into this Culver City Cycle Gear bike night with the hope that there's actually someone out there who has more miles than I do. I don't know why I'm thinking this way. I mean, it would be really cool to be like, hey, I got the high mileage queen thing, but it would just be humorous because there have to be people out there because I know that there are people out there who ride harder than I do. I don't even consider like this day, like this time around in this part of my life, I don't even ride anywhere as hard as I used to get the bike to where it is now. I mean, I'm not saying that I've slowed down, but my commutes have been shorter and I don't get to go out on, weekend escapades of 500, 600, 700 miles like I used to. Am I still capable of doing it? Of course. Is my wallet capable of doing it? Oh, hell's no. It's just the way it is. So yeah, so tonight, if you're bored, from 5 to 8 p.m., Cycle Gear Bike Night in Culver City, and then after that, hopefully, watching Wonder Woman at the Howard Hughes Plaza. The time for that hasn't been announced because I don't know the show times for Wonder Woman, but it will be a fun time. I think I'm looking forward. I've been watching the trailers again, and then reading the really positive reviews that a lot of my friends have put up. I'm looking forward to watching it. I think that DC has answered the prayers of those who have been saying, please, for the love of Pete, don't suck. Don't be Batman versus Superman. Because really, in my opinion, the best part of Batman versus Superman were the 7 minutes that Wonder Woman showed up. And I honestly only watched Batman versus Superman to see Wonder Woman. Because that makes any bloody sense. But yes. Oh, hey Sil, how you doing? Yes, thank you for joining in on the broadcast this morning. But yes, no, the odometer is accurate. If I turn on the bike, it shows 198.75. It is showing all of the numbers. Fortunately, when Yamaha released the FJR, they made sure that the odometer does show 6 digits. I have no issue having to prove my point. So yes, I'm good. Now, yes, no problem. I just have to I just got to turn on the bike and I'm good. So very good there. Somebody asked me, it's like, Christine, would you get another FJR if Eleanor, decided to go? And I said no. I can't replace Eleanor. I'm pretty convinced that that Eleanor will be the first and the last FJR, Yamaha FJR 1300 I'll ever own. I'm still in the camp of life is too short to own the same bike twice. And I hope that if I am to replace the bike, there's only two bikes right now that come to mind if I were to replace Eleanor. One of them is a Yamaha Super Tenere, and the other one is a BMW R1200 GS Adventure with lowered suspension. Those are the only two motorcycles that I could see as a legitimate replacement to Eleanor. I can't replace her. I mean, even if I could, there's just no reason to, replace that bike. Oh, okay. So are you thinking about an FJR, or are you thinking about moving towards something that's not Ducati, which is kind of, but you've always been a Ducati person / Yamaha person. So I am curious, what bikes are you kind of looking toward? I'm very curious about that. Yeah, I've the two bikes that I talk about are both motorcycles that have had, excellent track records in longevity. Albeit the R1200 GS Adventure is going to be a little bit more of a maintenance case because it is a BMW and it has a lot more electronics involved. The Super Tenere, I have met somebody who has railed a Super Tenere just about as hard as I used to rail my FJR when I first got it. It's a gentleman who is fighting uh, multiple sclerosis and rides, and he's raising money for multiple sclerosis research, and he rides his Super Teneres. He has two, and he has one that has reached over 160,000 miles on it. And I remember meeting him at the International Motorcycle Show in Long Beach and talking to him. And I follow him online, and I asked him, I said, hey, just out of curiosity, I have an FJR with 87,000 miles on it, and what is the biggest issue that you've had on your Super Tenere? Because I noticed that you have almost as many miles as I do on a bike that's 4 years newer. This guy I mean, that's all this guy does is ride all day. I mean, I wish this was my job. I'm like, I'm gonna go ride to Rhode Island for no apparent reason. You know how many friends I could visit doing that? That would be freaking amazing to get paid to visit my friends and blog about the whole thing and raise money for multiple sclerosis research. I mean, that's really cool. And he said the biggest problem I had was my headlights kept going out. I looked at him. I go, your headlights kept going out. I said, yeah, the connector's really bad. After about 160, 170,000 miles, my headlights went out. Now, here's why I find this funny. My bike has the same problem. So of all of the issues that these Yamahas have at high mileage, the clips that hold the headlight bulbs in disconnect and turn off the headlights. So there's a connection issue. It's all electrical. Engine's fine, shaft drive's fine. This guy has not even had to rebuild his engine, like I haven't either. And he has a problem with headlights. That's the worst thing. Duck to comfort. I'm done. Okay, so still is responding to the, thinking about something else for the future. And the Ducati being too uncomfortable for long trips. Definitely an issue. Funny, I'm thinking about this because if you don't know my friend Sil, I call her the Duck Woman because she is Duck Woman. She's probably one of the best riders I know. And I remember riding with her in canyons. She makes me look silly in canyons. And I still remember one of her motorcycles is a 1984 Kawasaki GPZ 550, which if you ever look that thing up, it's ridiculously nice. It had these old hard tires, and we're going into canyons, and she's leaning into these things, and I'm on the FJR. Long story short, this lady's amazing, and she makes me look really dumb on the road sometimes when we're in curves. Actually, yeah, that position though, that open position with the monster, you're slightly lean forward, it does do a number on your neck. I will agree with that. And I know that the Hyper, was it the Multistrada, which is the sport touring option for Ducati, is pretty tall. I mean, it's significantly taller than the Monster, so that would be a bit of an issue. Nice thing about FJRs, very low, well, not very low, but it has a very wide seat, but the seat height is somewhat low. It's about a 30 and a half, 31-inch seat height. And then, that's stock. If you change it to if you change the seat, it will drop it a little bit, and of course you could lower it. I have another friend named Jill who's not on here right now, but she owned a 2003 FJR and did the same thing. And she's like I would say she's about 5'4", and is still able to handle this bike without a problem. And I mean, she sold her bike a while back, but when she still had the FJR, it was modified for that. There are a couple other motorcycles out there, based on the topic, since we can just continue talking, because I'm just waiting for students to show up and drop off random stuff at my desk. If you are thinking about a motorcycle that is upright and easy to ride, very, very upright. One example is my Kawasaki Versys. It's a 650. Now, if you're coming off of something that is significantly more powerful, like a 1200 Monster or 1100 Monster Evo, as I have to make sure that I get the model correct for SIL, or my FJR 1300, that's something that would be wonderful as a spare bike. But if it's your mainstay, other motorcycles that really could take it, I would suggest the Yamaha FJ09, which is a 900 cc triple. That is definitely up there in very nice upright, and it has a nice windshield to it. And there's actually a couple that are running pretty good prices right now. If you are in the search for a bike though, and it's preferably a Yamaha, I'm just going to give a shout out to my guys at Pacific Yamaha in Harbor City. These are the guys who take care of Eleanor, and the guys who, well, Pam has had her front tire service there. They were formerly a Kawasaki dealer for a little while. They just do the jet skis now. So if you need a service on a Kawasaki jet ski, they still do it. But I'm just going to a little hot tip. You need a Yamaha, like, that they won't price gouge you. I strongly suggest hitting up the guys at Pacific Yamaha. They actually have a leftover 2016 FJ09. It's a black one. They've marked down the price on that. They have two Super Teneres there. They have a 60th anniversary yellow one that keeps staring at me every time I walk in there. And like I said, as I mentioned, the Super Tenere is one of the bikes that I want to replace Eleanor with if she goes naturally. And then here's some fun. There is a I'm going to say this right. I think it's a 2015. But there is a 2015 FJR on the showroom floor at Pacific Yamaha going for either $11,999 or $12,999 with like less than 2,500 miles on it. It has a GPS. It has the XM radio antenna. It is clean as day. And the only reason why it hasn't been sold or adopted is because it was the last model before they switched over to the 6-speed transmission that is now the standard for the Yamaha FJR. Mind you, too, that the Yamaha FJR has had a 5-speed transmission since 2001. Really tells you something about the longevity of the design and Yamaha's decisions to keep it that way. It's the same engine. I have logged almost, I'm reaching in on 191,000 miles on the same 5-speed transmission that I have not changed. I purchased plates. I purchased clutch plates, OEM clutch plates, to replace back in 2011. And they are still in storage. I thought my clutch was going. It turned out there was an issue with my clutch lever. I've not touched the bike at all. So yes, anybody out there, if you want an FJR, and a really nice one at that, there is a used one sitting, waiting for an owner with 2,500 miles on it at Pacific Yamaha. I mean, this is embarrassingly bad. The techs have teased me about it a lot. They go, hey, you might need a replacement. I'm going, that means I have to start my odometer over. How am I supposed to win bike night contests with that? That's useless. but it's a Generation 3 and it has all the cool stuff, all the electricals. So basically more electrical shit that could go wrong. Really? I love my '07. I'm sorry, I can't do that. So, but anyway, FJ09, very light, very nice. It might need a lowering, but you know, I had a chance to test ride one of those at the International Motorcycle Show in Long Beach. Excellent bike. That thing's got some torque for days. My critique, it's chain driven. I mean, yeah, I mean, so is a Ducati Monster, but you know, chain drive is something that I didn't, you know, I haven't experienced until I acquired Pam. So there's that. What else? I mean, you know, there's other options. I mean, I go back to the Japanese if I do that. You know, the Kawasaki versus the Yamaha, Kawasaki versus 1000. There's a version of that. There's the Yamaha FJ09. Of course, there's your FJR. Honda has the Africa Twin, both in regular transmission or DCT, which DCT is cool because it's clutchless. You can't stall the bike. It's pretty cool. I can explain more about DCT. I actually wrote a quick blog review about the Africa Twin DCT on twowheeltourist.net. If you are curious about the blog, I'll send you over the link. So there's that. Suzuki has the V-Strom, both in 650 flavor and 1000 as they have. And let's see, have I covered all the bases for the 4 Japanese? I think that's it. You know, Suzuki doesn't have a Sport Tour. They have standards, but they haven't had a Sport Tour since, I don't remember the last time they had a Sport Tour, which is one reason why I don't ride Suzuki anymore. You know, going to Yamaha was kind of like, the FJR was the nail in the coffin. So that was it for me. So yeah, that's some interesting insight there for that. I am curious to see, you know, what other new models are coming out. Yamaha just announced that they've re-released the Venture and they've made it modern and ridiculous, and it kind of reminds me of a Victory Vision, but a little bit prettier. I was teasing my my mechanic the other day. I said, "Hey, look at all the plastic you get to take off now," and he's just like, "Ah, geez." You know, he's stripped the face off of Eleanor so many times he could probably do it in his sleep blindfolded. You know, and his hands tied behind his back. He's done it so many times. I am looking forward to seeing that on the showroom floor. Right now, it's just been announced, so the Venture has not made it to Pacific Yamaha yet. But once it does, I'm looking forward to just sitting on it and seeing how it is. They're retiring that V4 engine that they've used on the original or the second generation Venture. That looks like a, you know, the one that looks like a giant touring cruiser. And other things that have been nice about it: no more tape deck. No more tape deck. You don't. There's no tape deck. That is that's definitely something that's nice that has been removed. So I am looking forward to seeing what the new Yamaha Venture has in store, especially with that the same. They're using the same V-twin engine that was used on the Stratoliner. Bye, Sil. I'll talk to you later. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. I really wish Yamaha did more test rides, but it is, you know, and I've had a chance to test ride other things. The Ducati test rides from several weeks ago, I still haven't gotten around to doing the reviews on the Super Sport and the Monster 1200. I hope to be able to get to those soon. It's just a matter of let me get some time to sit down and actually churn this out. So, working on that. Definitely working on that. Wow, I think this is like the longest live broadcast I've done to date. You know, I do archive these, and eventually, you know, I can release these on YouTube. I mean, if you just want to hear me babble for, you know, an hour about nothing and everything at the same time. I had a friend who did that a lot. Yeah. So with that being said, it's 10:56 in the morning. I'm gonna sign off for a little bit. Like I said, any questions, comments, anything else that you'd like to ask, you know, throw them in the comments there. I'll answer them. Message me privately. Answer that for you.